All right, let's begin. Okay. All right, we'll start where we left off on Tuesday. Okay, so let's kind of summarize where we've been so far. So we completed the statement of sources and uses. I'm just going to shrink this just for a moment. All right, and let's do the rest of this. Let's complete this forecast if we could. And if you have your cells linked correctly, this should just be pretty much a matter of copying. Let's at least copy down to net income. Those are very mechanical. Okay, and then you can copy the assets across. And let's see what we're doing here. Okay. Well, anyway, let's go through and make sure we get this right. I think it should work, but let's try it. Okay, we need 1296 in total capital. At this point, we have 1080, and so we'll keep our debt capped at 40% of assets. That's fine, and then. Let's see, so we will do this a couple of ways, I guess. We'll just say that we know these have to equal each other. And so we know that the equity will be the difference between the assets and the debt. Okay, and so from the equity, we need to take how much? I'm pretty sure this works. Yeah, so we need an additional 129.6, and therefore the rest can be paid out as a dividend. Yeah, this should work, and we'll do this again one more year. And just to check, and I know it should be, unless we made an error, it should be 40%. All right, yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's continue. And this number we know. Okay, let's cap our debt again at 40% of assets. And then let's set the rest to be equity. Okay, so we have this difference here that we must take from current year's income. And I think this is following just what we're doing. We'll do this first. How much? We need 155.52 to make this work. We'll pay out the rest as a dividend. No, actually, we can just copy this across, can't we? So it'll last another little quick check. Are we, so 156.18 goes to dividend. We reinvest 155.52, and that should account for all of our earnings, which it looks like it does. Okay, very nice. And let's come down at this statement again. Let's check our debt ratio one more time. And then our statement of cash flows, our statement of sources and uses should just copy across. Pretty sure it will. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it looks very good. All right. All is well and done. So let me just check in. All right, I will continue. So the next thing we will do is the, oops, so sorry, cut you off. You have to type at the speed of light to beat me. Let's see what I do wrong. Oh, no, okay, yeah. Why wasn't it? Okay, thank you. That's a nominal number, the dividends being 60%. And I think if you read the whole story here, let me see if it's written there correctly. 60% of net income, unless debt to value exceeds 40%, then pay out what is left over. Okay, so in other words, in order to pay out 60%, we would have had to have borrowed additional debt, which would have taken us past the 40% debt. Okay, so in other words, so say you want to pay that 60% dividend, we can kind of show that here. How can I do that? Let's see, let me streak over here a little bit. Okay, let's say I'm going to pay out a 60% dividend like it says here. So I have $213 in earnings. And I'm going to pay out 60% of that. Okay, and that gives me, for reinvestment, it gives me 85.82. So what that would do, that would bring my, wrong cell. That would bring my equity to 500 plus 85.32. You see, and then my total assets would equal, 1080. So total capital is 1080. That would require of me $494.68. All right, and if we were to check that, we would see that that debt ratio, whoa, what happened here? What did I do? Oh, geez, I'm dumb. Sorry, so sorry. My fault. Yeah, it would be up to 46%. So we would have a debt ratio of 46%. That's capped at 40. So we paid 60% of our earnings as dividends nominally, which means that that's the plan number, but the more constricting value in this system is the 40% debt ratio. So we can only pay out 60%, if we have sufficient funding such that our debt ratio does not go over 40%. So we had to reduce the debt ratio. We had to reduce the amount of debt. We had a debt capped at 432. We can't run it up to 494. Therefore, we had to reduce the payout to make it work, which was right here. I hope through all of that it made sense. That makes sense. Thank you. How do you like that? Answer the question before I ask it. That's pretty damn good. All right, let's continue. Now we're going to make things a little different. Okay, what I'd like you to do is make a copy of this sheet. Okay, so I'm just going to make a copy of this sheet. Okay, and let's call this, if you want, pecking order 1. Pecking order 1. Okay, so on this copy, here's what we'll do. We will follow the pecking order theory of providing capital. And the pecking order is that, let's see, we got room over here? Yes, we do. Let's put it over here. So, pecking order. Our first source of funding is current year's earnings. Second, you fund with additional debt. And finally, your last choice is to fund with new equity. All right. So what I'd like you to do, we have this one completed. It's all nice and pretty for what we're assuming, but now we are working with the pecking order. So what I'd like you to do is let's keep net income just as it is. That's all fine. But let's take out the policy here. Let's take out the dividend and the equity reinvestment section. Let's also take out the left side of the balance sheet, or the right side, forgive me, take the right side out. The assets remain in place. Okay? All right. So, pecking order. So let's start out with what we know. We have this one, and we have starting the year with 500 in equity, 400 in debt, for a total, and I'll sum these, a total of 900. All right. So how short are we? Okay, I just want to make a note over here. So how short are we? Well, we're 1080 minus 900. 180 short. So what does the pecking order tell us? It tells us that our first source of financing, if it's sufficient, it will be our only source, but if it's not, so let's go up. And we have 213.3 in earnings, so that will be sufficient. All right, and now the trouble here is that it'd be so handy if I could just take this. Oh, I have a question, it looks like. What can I do for you? Yes, the debt to value ratio is a constraint. It's not a minimum. So when we follow the pecking order, the debt becomes a cap. You can use no more than 40% debt. It does not have to be that high. We will not be maintaining a constant 40% debt ratio. Does everybody see that? That's a maximum amount of debt. And with the pecking order theory, if you can maintain it to less than that, you can. Now, we have some extra earnings, and I guess technically we could pay back more debt, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep the 400 as it is, but not fund with any more unless we absolutely have to. Yeah, so your debt to value, I'm pretty sure it'll change. Yes, it will, because the value will go up. And then when we go from 1 to 2, the value will go up, but likely the debt will stay the same. So the debt to value will actually come down. Okay, we'll see that, okay? Well, let's just go through with this. All right, well, thank you for the question. Oh, did I answer it? Let me. Well, I hope so. Let's keep going then. Yes, thank you. Okay, very good. All right, let's keep going. So we're 180 short, and you know there's probably a better way to do this, but I'd rather than think about it. Let's just get it done. And what I could do so easily here. We're short 180. I could come up here and just put that number right in the equity reinvestment, couldn't I? Okay, well, let's just do it. I can show you what goes wrong. Okay, so I can say equals this 180. All right, thank you. Please don't mute me. I don't know who has power to do that, but someone did. I don't believe I clicked on it. And who knows? I always thought Teams had a boogeyman. No, I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, let me go back to, I think I got muted. So this is the number we're short, and all I have to do is add that much more to equity, right? And I'll be done. All right, so I'm gonna come up here, and just so we can get our dividend set up. If I set this equal to this number, right? And then the dividend becomes the difference, that's pretty obvious. So 213 in earnings, I need to reinvest 180 of them. Okay. So my dividend will be 33.30. All right, now let's come down here. Here lies the problem. If I take my equity, okay, now I'm going to add to that. If I come back up here and click on this, watch what happens. Oh, look at that. I get a circular reference. So in other words, I'm using a cell to calculate itself. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control Z, not do that. And the way I found to get out of this is to take this number and just simply copy it over itself as a value. So I'm going to convert this to a value. Okay, now I can do that. So I'll take the $500 of the beginning of the period equity and add the 180 from current year's earnings, and everything works just fine. All right? And now if we come down here, let's finish this statement the way it ought to be. And oh my gosh, it worked, didn't it? So we have, you know what, if you don't mind, since I have mine so large, I'm going to move these over so I can see it a little better. It'll give them a right adjust. Okay, so I reduce reduced the dividend to 1333. My investment was still 150, 80 is the net working capital. I took my net income, my depreciation still there. Yeah, we didn't issue any new debt. We didn't issue any new equity. All is good. So let's do the second here. In fact, I'm going to give you a few minutes. Why don't you finish for the next 2 years? I will stand by for questions. So let's finish. Oh, how did I get D18 again? I better do that. Okay, we can do that. How did I get D18? Wish I knew. D18. Equity. Okay. What I did is, let's do it again. I said it equals where we began plus the amount that we will be adding to retained earnings, or adding the equity reinvestment. And that fixes everything. Now, do we know how to get the equity reinvestment? Because you won't get D18 unless you get the equity reinvestment first. All right, thank you. All right. So I'll give you a few minutes to, everybody a few minutes to finish this. It will not take me very long. Well, anyway, I think I'll do the next year. Okay, so I will, got a question, looks like. Okay, yes. Okay, let me show you what I did again. Okay, all right, you see this? Okay, let's do this whole sequence one more time. So if I kept this at, say, equals 500, okay, now I know that I'm 1080 minus 900, I'm 180 short. Okay, so this was equal to this one minus this one, okay? Now how did I do that? Try that again. Oh, come on. This one minus this one. Okay, now what I did next, I will get an error unless I convert this to a value. So what I did is I copied it, and then I pasted it right over itself as a value. Okay, you can do that. I paste it right over itself as a value. Okay, then when I reference it up here, you see it'll treat it differently than if this were part of the, still part of an equation. So you have to convert this to a value first. Okay, now I have a value there. I can take this equation and come up here and add my addition to retained earnings, my equity reinvestment, same thing, and it should work. Oh, you got it. Okay, very good, very good. Okay. All right. And so I'll start on the next year then. In the next year, I'll keep the debt as it is. All right, I will then equity as it is, and then I'll copy this. And let's see how short we are. Our shortage this time is 1080, oops, my fault. 1296 minus 1080, so our total capital required for the following year would be 216. All right, so I scroll up, I have 262. So I know I will take all of this from earnings. So first thing I do to avoid that stinking circular argument, I'm going to come here and I'm going to copy this and paste it as a value. Now there might be a better, I'm sure if I thought about this enough, I could find a better way to do this, but this works. Paste this as a value, then I'll come up here and I will actually just copy these two across. Okay, so 216 will come from earnings. I will take this equation and copy it across, and now I'm balanced. And if I look down here, my sources are 322, my uses are 322, life is good. Then we'll do the last year. In the last year, we will just follow the same procedure. Let's estimate how much additional capital we will need. All right, and of course, you know, I'm checking these, right? Can't be more than 40%. Okay, so, and it's actually going to keep going down, isn't it? Because this will be the debt ratio. Okay, so how much new capital do I need? My new capital will be 15 and so on minus the 1296. Okay, and source one, current year's earnings. Do I have enough? Yes, I do. So therefore, I will copy this over itself and paste it over itself, I should say, as a value. And then I will, once that's a value, I can copy these. So I'll be taking 259.2 from the 321 that the company earned, reinvested in the company, and then I can copy this one across. And we have it. And look what's happening to this debt ratio. So as we provide more equity capital, and the debt stays the same, therefore the debt ratio comes down, doesn't it? And one more time, 393,056, 393,056. And we have our sources equal to our uses. Okay, so we got, so So are we ready to move on? Because the next one's actually far more tough. It's more difficult. Ready to move? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I got one vote, so we're going to do it. That's all I need. One vote. Hearing no nays, let's move on. All right. I got a tougher one for you this time. Okay, let's go back to what we did on Tuesday, and let's make a second copy of that. Okay. And we're going to call this one pecking order 2. All right, we're going to do pecking order 2 now. So let's clean this up. I have quite a few more changes to make. And this is not going to go well immediately. So first thing, right now we're increasing our revenues by 20%. We're going to change that to 40%. Okay, and then we're going to come down here and we will change our working capital to 25% of sales. We will change our net PP&E, plant and equipment, or net fixed assets. We will change that to 30% of sales. Okay, so 3 big changes. Sales will increase by 40% each year. Working capital will be 25% of sales. And net fixed assets will be 30% of sales. All right. So let's invoke these changes that we know of. Okay, and let's start here. Okay, so instead of 1 plus 20% or 1.2, we're going to move that up to 1.4. Okay, and you may copy that across. No big deal there. Okay, and let's let's get a nice format, you think? All right. Okay, next change. Well, actually, let's continue. Net income, okay, let's keep it like it is. Okay, that should have changed automatically with the change in sales. Let's take out the dividend and the additional retained earnings. Okay, and let's redo our assets. Oops. Let's redo our assets. We're at 20% for working capital. Let's change that to 25%. Right, and let's change the net fixed assets to 30%. Okay, and you may copy those 2 across. All right. Now what I think we'll do, none of this is correct. So let's just delete everything here that we've done. Okay, everything that we've done. All right. Now we'll do this one again with the pecking order. So use the same pecking order. Fund with current year's earnings first. Fund with new debt second. And if that's not enough, again, you're capped at 40% debt to value. Then fund with new equity. So I'll give you first shot at it. Uh-oh, I have someone lit me up. What can I do here? All right, we got that. All right, I did that. Okay, so complete the forecast for the 3-year period. Again, using the pecking order theory, pecking order of raising capital. So current year's earnings first. If that's not enough, issue new debt, but do not issue debt such that your debt to asset ratio goes to or exceeds 40%. And then if that's not enough, you will issue new common stock. So go ahead and work on it. I'll let you work on it. What do we have here? Okay, looks good so far. All right, I'm going to mute my mic for a minute. I'm going to heat up a cup of tea here, so I'll mute my mic and I'm going to turn on my microwave. All right, I'm back live again. I'm back live. So how are we doing? You have kind of two issues here. One is the pecking order theory itself, and the second one would be how do you make it work on Excel? I couldn't even imagine this by hand. I know I've done it in the past, but it's just, I think about it and I go, why, how did I do that? So should I start on it, or would you like a little more time? Yeah, I should show you. All right, I can do that. All right, let me try it. All right. Now this one again, it's a little trickier on the Excel than the other one was. Let's see, it looks like I'm lit up. I don't know why. Okay. Or I didn't answer. I'll say okay. Maybe that'll make it so I'm not lit up anymore. All right. No idea. Well, I'm going. Anyway, here we go. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say equals what we started with. What we started with. And then, oh, that's tight. Oh my goodness. Can't believe that would be done. Okay, here we go. All right. So let's get our shortage going again. So I'm 1540. I'll be subtracting 900. That works pretty well. Okay. So source number one. What is source number one? Earnings. Let's go back and view our earnings. I see 260.7. And did I make sure did I do this? Yes, I did. Okay, and this should remain 85%. So these are all active cells. Yes, they are. Okay, looks good. All right, 260.7. All right. That will not be enough. So let's say equity reinvestment, we will not be paying a dividend. Well, I will be reinvesting all of this. This is step one of the pecking order. So let's just do that. So instead of just being equal to what we started with, let's add to that for now, current year's earnings. And that's 260.7. All right, now I'm short 379.3. Okay, how much, what's the second step in the pecking order? What is my next preferred source of capital? It would be debt. All right, so there's a couple of ways you can do this. Either way, you probably require a follow-up step anyway, but let's just, let's take it all that we can. So I'm gonna set this equal to 0.4 times my assets. And then this is a trial run, all right? If I don't need this much debt, well, then I can go back and redo it, can I? But let's just try it. I can move the debt up to 616, and that's still not enough. Okay, so the rest will be coming from issuance of equity. So let's scroll down. right? And let's try something here. Okay, I'm trying to avoid that same type of error I had earlier, the circular reference. Let's make sure we don't get that. Right, and this is how I did it. I said equal to, so our total uses, this is what we have to fund, 690 of new capital minus, and this is what I did. I don't want to subtract here because you see what? I would be inserting that same number into here. That's how much equity I'll be issuing. And since this cell D28 is in cell D29, in other words, it's the sum of these three above, that will give me a circular reference. So I'm going to avoid that. So I'm taking this 690 right here, and I'm going to subtract the sum. Get this out of the way. I'll be subtracting the sum of these three. So I'll subtract the sum of the capital I've already raised. And it says 163. Well, I know that, don't I? Is that what this says? So I know that, but now what I can do, I can come over here and set this issuance of equity equal to this number. Right? And now you see my sources and uses are equal. I come back up here, and then let's add that new equity to my capital mix. So I have beginning equity plus current year's earnings. Now we're going to say plus the issuance of equity. And now we are balanced. All right, let's see how we're doing here. All right, go ahead and try the next year. What is our next year? Curiosity. 2021, okay. How are we doing? You can just speak up if you want. I'll try to answer your question. If you want to type it into the chat, I can do that too. Okay. So I'm not muted. I'm sharing my file. Life is good. And let's get this out of the site. Okay, I'm going to begin. Let's see how you did. All right, so we will do equal. Let's keep our capital that we have at the start of the period. Okay, and how short are we? Okay, that's how short we are. Now, source one, current year's earnings. Do we have sufficient current year's earnings to fund this increase on the left side? And we look up, and we do not. So we will be paying out, or we will be paying out zero. We'll be retaining all of this. All right, and so let's add that number to our equity. Not quite yet, I guess. Okay, that's all right. Add that number to our equity. So we'll add 349 to it. Okay, we're still 266.5 short. Source number two would be debt financing. So let's cap our debt at 40% of assets and see how much additional debt we can borrow. And so, oh, look at that, we got down to $20. Okay, so this last 20 will be coming from new equity. So we'll do the same thing we did down here. And I can just copy this. Okay, and I should be able to copy this one too. All right, don't do it then. There we go. All right, and so this is formatting. You know, I don't like that format. Let's get a good format. All right, so now our assets and our capital match. Our debt does not exceed 40%. We have a valid solution. And one more year. Here we go. Let's do one more year. Okay, our shortage is 882. And I'm pretty sure we're not earning that much yet. And we are not. So we will continue to pay out nothing, retain all of our earnings, and we'll add that source to equity. All right, and then we're still short by 393. And will we have sufficient debt capacity to finish this off with just debt? And I'm going to say we don't. But let's see how much we can finance with debt. And we will keep debt at 40% of assets. So I just need to copy this over one. And yep. Whoa, something's wrong here. What have I done wrong? I do not believe this is correct. No, it isn't. What's wrong here now? What happened? Okay, let's do this again. Oh, I know what happened. My fault. My fault, my fault. You have to add your issuance of equity here. All right, now we're talking. So 28 short. 28 short. That will be from newly issued equity. So we'll come down here and follow the same procedure we have been following. I'll just copy this over. So 28, that's the amount of new equity funding that will be required. We'll copy this over. And the whole thing should be cured. And it is not because I haven't added like I did. Okay, now I remember what I wanted to do. Copy this over one more. Now we have the two additional sources of equity included, and we are balancing, and our debt ratio is, or does not exceed 40%. Doesn't have to be 40%, but it cannot exceed 40%. So, how did we do? Do you need to add the new equity? Yes, I do. I did that. Thank you. I do and I did. I should have looked up here. I was seeing that I had an error, wouldn't I? Thank you for catching that. I wish I'd have read that. We should be good now. Okay, so there we go. All right. Sources equal uses. I think we're in good shape. Anything else? Let me check in. All right. So we're okay on all this? All right. Well then, if you would, you have an assignment for Tuesday, and that will include questions 24 and 27 from chapter 29. Let me, I have a few hints on these, on the Word document. Okay, so we actually went a little beyond what's in the lecture notes today, but I hope that's not a problem. Let's go to the end here. All right. So, chapter 29, you have questions 24 and 27. 24 is extremely easy compared to what we've done today. You make a rather simplified forecast. Initially, use debt as a balancing item. And then the next question, you limit the debt and go back and reduce the dividend. So pretty much in the same vein of what we're doing today. All right, then for question 27, much more difficult, much more. And if you would, I have a file on Canvas, and I believe it's called, let me see, let me find, oh, it's right here, sure. Yeah, it's called question 27, chapter 29. So if you have your book, this is right out of it. All right. And what they ask you to do is to set up a series of equations or a series of statements right out of the book. And so I've set these up for you right here. All right. And then there's some rules we'll follow. And I summarized these at the bottom here. These are all in the text. Okay, so your depreciation is your net fixed assets plus new investment times 10%. All right, your revenues, they assume you can generate $1.75 in revenues for every dollar of total assets. Okay. Your fixed costs will remain fixed throughout. So we're going to do 5 years of forecast here. And now this is what's strange about this problem. It is strange. But they are going to insist on a 2/3 of net income paid out as a dividend. Now why that is strange is because you will also be issuing new equity. So how's this sound? So on one hand, I'll hand some money over to my shareholders as part of current year's earnings. And on the second hand, I'll say, oh, I need money back. I need some additional equity capital. I mean, if I were writing this problem, I would just follow a pecking order, do something a little different, not quite. Okay, so let me show you some of the things you'll have to do. Okay, where do you begin this forecast? Okay, so this is the current year. Well, I don't have a number for some improvement over what I had the previous year. So this is given, and this is given. Okay, so these are given. And you know what, I guess, why didn't I fill this in? I don't know why. Oh, yes, I know why. All right, in your book, your authors call this fixed assets. Okay, but it's actually net. Okay, so this would be debt. Sure, I didn't fill this in. This will be equity. Oh, nice spelling. All right, and then of course this would be your totals, which I don't need. All right. You see this? The revenues are 1.75, and this is total assets at the beginning of the period. So let's just make a quick forecast of our next year's revenues. So it's going to equal 1.75 times the beginning of the period total assets. Okay, then the rest you can do, right? But now, how do you get these? How do we get these? So we're going to go to 217, and we'll go all the way over to, I think, 5 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of forecast. Okay, how do we get these? Okay, what we have to do, you might recall, we had an equation. In our equation, I'm going to blow this up so you can see it. Our equation said that investment equals ending net fixed. I'll tell you what. Oh, I know what you want here. Okay. Minus beginning net fixed. Okay, minus plus depreciation. Okay, you see, you solve this, so what I need is, this is the beginning net fixed assets. I need a number right here. So this is actually where you start. I mean, well, I guess you can start here, but I need a number right here. Okay, and you use the relationship that you have here, except that you solve it for, in other words, if I take the same equation and solve it for ending net fixed assets, well, that didn't work. Well, how about that? I thought I was helping you. Anyway, if I solve this for ending net fixed assets, you can see that I would, the ending net fixed is equal to the beginning net fixed plus investment minus depreciation. Did I get that right? So ending, yeah, so basically I just have to move this over to the left side as a positive number, move depreciation over as a negative. This is right. Okay, so in this case, what would we get? We would be investing 200,000 every year for the next 5 years. So we're going to say ending net fixed is equal to, we have 800. Oh, first of all, oh yeah, we have investment, 800. Well, hang on. Let's do depreciation first. We don't know depreciation. And I have an equation up here for you, I believe. Oh, I don't. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, depreciation. And this is just a unique story for this particular problem. And they say it equals 10% times the sum of beginning net fixed assets plus investment. Oh, no, they do. Plus investment. Okay. All right, so let's do a depreciation first. Equals 10% times the sum of, okay, so our beginning net fixed would be 800 plus 200, that's the investment, and that would give you 100. All right, so the ending net fixed assets, now we can do it. Equals, so it'll be the beginning net fixed plus the investment minus the depreciation. And if you did all that, you will get 100, or 900, forgive me. All right, and then you have to follow the story. Do we have that little rule? You can read, these are all in there. Okay, now you got a max debt ratio of 20%. You got, I capped ours at 40. They're going to do 20. Oh, I got it. Here's depreciation. I'm sorry, I had it right there. Didn't you see it? Okay, but anyway, you will assume that working capital, they call it working capital. They call it net, I don't remember. Anyway, to net fixed assets, constant. Okay, so let's go to our first year, but not even our first year, our beginning year. So we have 400 over 800. You see, so that basically tells you the whole story. So it'll be constant at, you keep this ratio the same throughout. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That did not happen. Okay, equals point. Okay, let's just say, oh, there we go. Equals 0.5. Okay, so if I do my next balance sheet, here, how do I do it? I know that this is equal to what? I'll just type this one in, but you should do it by equations, and you can copy it across. I know this is 900. This will be half of it. Okay, this will be the sum. Okay, and you know these have to equal each other, do they not? And then the debt is capped at 20%. 0.2 times 1350. Okay, here, don't do this one, because this is, eventually these will have to balance, correct? But when you first start, they don't. So what you have to do, the equity here, you start out by adding whatever part they will allow the company to retain. In the story, they are retaining only 1/3 of earnings. So basically, you'll just take this cell and add 1/3 of your earnings. And you're going to see that you're short. Well, then you're going to have to issue some new common stock. So then you fill in the rest of these statements, and it should all come together. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got for today. It looks like we're out of time anyway. Okay, on canvas. Oh, it said do the 8th. Really? No, that can't be. Oh my gosh, my day ahead? You gotta be kidding me. I thought I went about as slow as I could. Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's. Okay, why am I saying that? Well, let me finish this. I'd like to see it do it for Tuesday because the next topic we have is 10 times harder than this. All right? It's 10 times harder than this. And if I could use that extra day on chapter 31, we'll be, or on chapter, well, this next assignment is actually investments, or not investments, but corporate valuation. And so quite a bit of that will not be coming from the book. And so we will have a lot to do. So I think we'll just move it up till Tuesday. That will be in our favor this time. I have nothing more I can do here. I don't want to spend the whole day Tuesday working on this assignment. So yeah, let's do that. Thank you for noticing that though.
Hi, Professor. I had a few questions, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's the original table. A few of my numbers were off, so I just want to share the screen with you.
Well, why don't you do that? Let me get back in here.
It's
All right.
it's just on this. I don't remember which ones exactly are off, but I think the interest is off, and I just kind of want to see where I went wrong.
It's 10% of beginning debt. So 40 is 10%, 480, 48.
Like,
5.
should this be 42, I think?
No, this is 480. Oh, working cap, I'm sorry. So you got 432 here, right? Yeah, that should be 43.2. It looks like, I'm wondering if you didn't push it on you haven't linked to this working capital cell instead.
Okay.
Well, you see why? Yeah, 400.
What was that?
Well, you see how your working capital and your at the beginning and long-term debt are the same?
Yeah.
I wonder if you linked to the wrong one of the two.
Okay.
So go back to your first 40 up here, double click that. Yeah, see that? So drag the blue cell down to the 400 debt. We just drag the cell down if you want. Just
This
come
one?
down. No, that one's fine. Double click it again. Okay, put your cursor on the 400 here and just drag it down. There you go. No, down. Keep going. There you go. Now you're on. Oh, you went too far. Up a couple. One more. There, right there. See, now you're on the debt.
Okay.
Okay, enter. Okay, copy that across.
Okay.
Did that clean her up?
I will check.
So 432, 518, 622, looks good.
Okay, so I was just off one
Yeah,
cell.
now you probably then will have to go back to those other two sheets for the pecking order.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I knew I was gonna have to redo it because I just couldn't figure out what I had done wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wish you'd asked me to start. We could have fixed that in like we just did in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I should have. My bad, but it'll be good to watch it again anyway.
Oh, no, you can, yeah, in fact, yeah, that's, yeah.
All right,
As much this as you can do on your own is just plain good stuff.
yeah.
So
All right,
if
I
you
appreciate.
get a chance to redo it, that's wonderful. And you can always get a hold of me on Monday if you haven't gotten, if it's not working for you, we can fix it in a hurry.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.